Hey everybody, back again with another video for you guys. Today we're doing something I've been meaning to do for the last like 3 or 4 weeks is flush the coolant in my Audi, which is right here, and put a new coolant temp sensor in since the coolant's dirty. And I also think my heater core is pretty much trash, so we're gonna flush it all and see what we get. I'm kind of doing this by the book and kind of doing it how I've done it, but it's a pretty straightforward deal when it comes down to flushing it, and that'll be kind of the parts in this video. So I'll be kind of adding them in here as I go along. Basically, what we're going to start with now is to do this coolant temp sensor. Now this one I got this offline from a company called, this is Bilstein, but this Bilstein, this made in Brazil, crazy I know, and coolant temp sensor was like, I think it was like $15, pretty much OEM, and it pretty much, for the price, it's pretty good. Now this is pretty important. I think I haven't found any videos, well, I think they're probably there, but they're not really they're not specific enough when it comes down to doing video. So when it comes down to it, we're going to come over here and I'll show you guys kind of what I mean when it comes down to it here. See, let's go over here. We're going to come inside. Basically, what I'm going to show you guys right here is these are the components that come with this. Basically, you get a clip, new clip. You get a new O-ring, which is important. Change this and the clip. If they give it to you, change it. And this is the sensor right here. It's a green 4-prong. It's square. This is what you need for mine's a 98 Audi Avant 2.8 liter V6. You need this square one. This is what fits, not the train tunnel looking one. You need the square one. So this is what you want. Don't buy the other one. You'll be kicking yourself. The round ones are for, the tunnel looking ones are for the they're for the 1.8 turbos, for I think they're the lower mount where the coolant comes into the radiator. Those are for that, so you don't want to mess those up. You're definitely going to need this one. So that's kind of the basic everything that comes in that kit. Now what should we do? Go back out here, I guess. So this is pretty straightforward. Now I'm just gonna kind of do this in a few sections here. Now basically what you've got is right behind this here. Now I don't have a lot of my impact stuff to use right now, so down here, it's probably hard to see, but where the sensor is, it sits down here, and it's kind of hard. You're gonna have to take all this off, but basically you're gonna pop the sensors down in there. You just pop the clip out, and you're just gonna pull the sensor up out of there. You're not gonna lose any coolant, and you're gonna pull that out and basically just reinstall the same way. Now if you got skinny hands like I do, skinny hands, this shouldn't be too difficult. But if you got fat hands, then well, you might have a problem. You're gonna have to take off this intake that's already here, if you have a stock or aftermarket, and this piece here. So it's kind of how your setup is, if it's different than mine, but that's kind of how I do it. And so we're gonna get started here. I'm gonna pull this all out, and I'm gonna show you the old one and basically just how to reinstall it. So I will see you guys. Hey, we're back again. Now this is the second part. I'm horrible on camera. This is like, I wish I was better. But we have the sensor out. Here she is right here. And I did lie, you will lose a significant amount of coolant. You still want to open up your, this is your top radiator hose. You want to open that up. There's just a clip on this, so you just pull up and pop that off. And there's a lower, I've got I have a skid guard on this that I have to pop off after I put this back on, the new one. and I'm going to take that one off, and I'm going to make sure that there's no more coolant and get out as much as possible before I flush this thing, because I still have to pop off. Now this is another thing, your hoses for these are right beneath this guy right here, which I can just pull it down. I can show you. As you can tell, that's pretty corroded there, so it'll be interesting to see what this looks like. Pull this down, you guys can kind of see where it's at here, and we're gonna pop these off and flush these, and we're gonna see what they look like. This will be interesting. But this right here, this sensor is basically pretty there's a lot of calcium or just water mineral deposits. It's green, and my temp sensor in my car has been going up and then going down and then up and then all the way down and back up, and I think it's the sensor, but I don't know. If you guys know anything about this, post in the comments or questions below, let me know. I haven't changed the thermostat. That's kind of the last thing that I'm looking at doing, but this guy right here is pretty rough looking, so we're going to change this, put a new one in, and we have fresh coolant. I will also post a link for this in the description below, just as well as the coolant, which we have over here. Now, I got this off eBay. This comes with this handy dandy rag. Granted, I sort of already spilled it, but so what can you do? This is authentic VW Audi coolant, red, pink. I have Pentafrost coolant as a backup if I need it, but this is 1 gallon, and you need to do a 50-50, so one of these plus one full one of these of water, and you mix it together. Ethylene glycol, antifreeze, VW Audi. About 30 bucks for this online. I tell you what, this was actually a pretty good deal. So I will also put the link in the description for this. You guys can look at it and see what you think. But it's not too bad, and they give you this absorbent pad, which I guess I'll have to use now that I've already spilled it. Anyway, we got ramps, and we are gonna reinstall this. I did have to take this piece off because it was in the way, which wasn't a big deal. But we are gonna go and reinstall this. Now, the clip that came with this was actually metal. It's underneath the car, unfortunately. Can't show you, but the original one was metal. The one that they gave me was plastic. So I'm kind of thinking I might reinstall. If there's a metal clip in there, reinstall the metal one. It's a pain to get out, but it's probably better than having a plastic clip. Keep the plastic one as a backup, and use that in case you'll lose it or whatever. But that's what I would suggest. We're gonna go ahead and get this new one set in and all reattached and everything, and we will be right back. Oh, I can't. Ugh. I'm the worst. I'm so sorry. We'll be back. Hey everybody, we're back again. Not sure what part this is, but part 2, 3, I don't know. Anyway, a little update on what's going on. It's very wet, as you can tell, and basically what we're doing here is I open up this hose. This is open now, and as you can see down here, and these top 2 hoses I popped off. As you can tell, they're a little corroded, not terrible. I was actually really surprised. I put some cleaner degreaser through them. I don't have any like a CLR or anything, so I just ran some cleaner degreaser, let it soak a little bit, ran it through both sides, and surprisingly it actually water flowed freely. I didn't really get any big chunks, because it's kind of surprising because my heat's been really weird since I've owned it. So I'm thinking maybe there might be something a little different going on with it. I don't exactly know, but we give it a good flush through the whole system. And now we've got our coolant, we got our bucket, and we're going to be getting this thing back together. Now basically the coolant is just a 50-50, one of the coolant and then one of water, basically mix 1 of 1. And filling it up, we're going to get this all buttoned back up. We're going to put the sensor back in, and we should be good. We have to reinstall this cap, and then there's kind of a burping process that you have to do. That I'll get to here in a minute. So I'm gonna start getting this button back up, and I'll see you guys in a minute. Hey everybody, we are back again. I'm here doing a follow-up video for a follow-up actually for this video that I just did. Unfortunately, I ran out of daylight, and I wasn't able to finish this in its entirety. So I wanted to kind of do a follow-up and kind of show you guys, or kind of tell you guys kind of how everything went. It worked good. I have heat now, and I flushed the car for a good probably 30 minutes with just water, and it was clear, and I have heat. And I was kind of surprised I didn't get any chunks or rust or anything out, which is good. But basically in its entirety, it was a pretty easy process, and I'll kind of just explain here how I personally do these kind of things. And when it came down to where I left off with the video, it wasn't too bad. Everything was pretty much hooked up. Now, with your car, it's pretty straightforward. If you have an Audi, you have your two lines which go into your heater core, which I showed in the video. They're right next to each other by the battery. Basically, all you're doing is, once everything's hooked up, you're filling your coolant system with fluid. That's your step one. You fill your coolant system, and you put the cap on. Your step two is basically on the back, on those two hoses that are by the battery going into your heater core. What you're going to do is, one of those hoses has a little hole. Mine was on the left side, just a small hole, and only one hose has it. You're going to keep that hose unclamped. You're going to pull that out probably like a ½ inch or so, just so it can breathe. Then you're going to start your car up. Now, you're going to just let your car heat up. You want to get warm so that coolant will start to circulate. If you need to, rev your car up to about 3,000 RPM, let it sit there for 5 minutes or so. Drop it back down, see how it sounds. Turn your heat on high and keep your heater on about medium to low. When you mix your coolant, basically what I did, because when you drain your system, you're going to have some amount of coolant still in your cooling system, so amount of water or whatever. So I usually do about, with the coolant, I usually do about ½ a gallon of water, maybe a little more, and then I've got about almost a full jug of gallon of coolant left over. So that's what I do. And then once you're done with that, you're gonna let your car heat up, and you can tell, you feel the hoses and everything will be warm. And what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna keep revving your car up a little bit, and slowly you're gonna start, as that coolant gets hotter and hotter and hotter, basically that is gonna start spitting air out that hose, and you're gonna want to keep doing that until that spits and spits and spits. If you have to rev your car up, do that a few times to really get that coolant circulating. The more you do that, the more air is going to come out. You're going to want to keep doing that until it keeps spitting, until you get a solid stream of coolant coming out of that hose. When you do that, you want to slide that hose back on and clamp it down. Now, after you do this, you're going to want to make sure you have heat in the car, because if both your bottom and top radiator hoses are warm, your hoses going in your heater core are hot, coolant circulating. But if you don't have heat in your car, there's a good chance that your heater core could be bad. That's a good sign. Now, when it comes down to if you want to test it more, take the car for a drive, really warm it up, and you should be getting heat at this point. If you drive it for a bit, you want to pull over when you get done, check the coolant level. If it's gone down at all, top it up to the coolant level that says in your car, and then drive it. And if you notice anything weird, for the coolant level, just top it off and you should be good. But for me, this is the way that I do my car. I don't really have I haven't had issues with it, and it runs great. I usually just drain it from where the coolant temp sensor is on the back of the engine, and that's where I leave it. I don't really bother trying to drain out a ton of other coolant or anything like that, so it's not really that big of a deal for me. But I hope this has helped you guys kind of get a better understanding. And also, this is a good thing to mention, is that I've had temperature issues with my sensor in the car. It's going up, it's going down, it goes up, it stays, it goes down. And with this new sensor in Coolant, I've noticed that my sensor has stayed. And if you've had this issue with your temp sensor going up and down quite a bit, one issue could be is that sensor. And mine was very corroded, had a lot of oxidization and corrosion on it. And my sensor stayed pretty darn well in the center. I live out here in Denver, West Colorado, and I drove to Glenwood Springs and back, and it stayed pretty stable the whole entire way there and back. When I drove into the mountains, I did have some fluctuation. It actually got a lot cooler, and when I came back down out of the mountains, it actually fluctuated and went back down to about normal. So I think with cooling and with being that it's cooler at higher elevations and how the car runs, I think you're gonna have some fluctuation. Now, if I change my thermostat, that'll be interesting to see what condition that's in, and that's another video for another day. But that's a good thing to consider if you're having an issue with that. But that, for me, that's what fixed it, and I hope that works for you guys. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This has been very informative, and I'm going to be starting up a Patreon account. I'm looking to try to raise a little money to just afford a better camera, some mic equipment, and put out some better quality videos for you guys. So I hope you guys like this video, and I'll dig around and see if I can find a link for the coolant from where I bought it from, and I'll put it in the link in the description below, and the sensor as well. But anyways, I hope you guys liked the video, and I will talk to you guys another day. Bye.